Everywhere I look on YouTube, I see bullshit after bullshit of lasting longer videos. These doctors with their pinch your cock garbage. What the fuck?
Yeah, babe, I need to pull out my cock and pinch my dick for 3.5 minutes. I'm sure this will totally work and not kill the mood.
Then you got weird exercise people telling you to fucking stretch. What the fuck does stretching have to do with not coming too fast? And I shit you not, even punching yourself in the face. Now, to be fair, that guy was an adult actor talking about other guys he was working with on set, but do you really want to have to punch yourself in the face every single time? Now, obviously, none of this shit works, but thankfully, it is possible to beat premature ejaculation naturally and permanently. And I know because I did it. And now it's kind of all I talk about. It does take a little bit of effort, but I promise it's more fun than cock pinching. And in about 4 to 6 weeks, you should be up to around 20 minutes, which is way more than you need for most women to orgasm. So in this video, I'm gonna show you how to do it the right way. And at the end, I'll give you an exercise to help you get your feet wet. Now, real quick plug before the video. If you watch this video and you're like, that makes sense, make sure to check out my course below. Now, sadly, there's no pinching or yoga mats or punching yourself in the face, just real sex practice with your hand or your toy. I know, practicing sex to get better at sex. What a crazy idea, right? That link is below if you want to check that out. Now the video. Okay, to understand how premature ejaculation works and how to stop it, I want you to think about this. You've almost certainly had the experience where you thought about a woman and got turned on. And by turned on, I mean 2 things happen. 1, your gets hard, and 2, you have some level of sensitivity that goes along with it. Now, you've also had the experience, although a lot less common, where you've started off aroused and then for whatever reason, you got distracted and had to stop, with your erection and the sensitivity both going away shortly afterward. These 2 scenarios illustrate the basic principle of lasting longer, which is sexual arousal, both starting and stopping it, begins in your mind. Put another way, your mind has the ability to cause physical changes in your body, which in our case is the presence or absence of sexual arousal and the sensitivity that goes along with it. You follow me so far? Now here's where I'm gonna make a pretty big claim and try to back it up. And the claim is you already know how to last as long as you want, or at least you have the mechanism to be able to do it and you've done it already without even knowing it. Now, I don't know your sexual history, thankfully, but I want to give you a scenario that I think will help back up my claim. I want you to imagine you're sitting at your desk masturbating when all of a sudden a Zoom call comes in with a client that you forgot you had to take. You pull up your pants, zip them up, and jump on the call. Now, at that exact moment, a few things happen. 1, your is still hard. 2, your sensitivity hasn't dropped yet, but it's also not going to go up. And 3, your focus shifts inside your mind from your hypnotic corn haze to sharp and focused for the call. Now, depending on how worked up you were before the call came in, this next piece could take like 5 seconds or it could take up to a few minutes. But it will happen, and that is, as you begin to accept that orgasm is not going to happen for the next 30 minutes or an hour, your body goes through a kind of transformation where the focus goes away from the sensations down below and it kind of settles into the work in front of you. And as you settle in up here, your starts to go limp and your sensitivity decreases to very low or maybe even 0, especially if you weren't that aroused to begin with, right? It's that feeling where it's kind of annoying, but it's like, I'll finish later. That transformation just kind of happens on its own. It's your body's way of stopping you from ejaculating at the wrong time. It's kind of common sense. You're doing something else. You don't want to be ejaculating in the middle of a work call. You kind of take it for granted, but it's much, much more than that. That act of shutting down your arousal by shifting your focus is really the secret to beating premature ejaculation and lasting as long as you want. Now, I'm going to explain more, but if you're doubting me right now, you really owe it to yourself to just think about that for a second. You deliberately crushed your arousal just by shifting your attention and subconsciously telling your body to cut that out. And the only difference between doing it by accident on a work call and doing it to last longer in bed is the intention, right? Doing it on purpose. Now, at this point, you might be thinking like, okay, Max, I get it. I guess I can agree with that. Like, Okay, I can stop being horny on a work call, but who cares? How does this help me last longer in bed? It's like a chicken and the egg thing, you know what I mean? Where do you even start? Well, you just start where you're at, right? With masturbation practice, you start at a very high sensitivity with almost no control like you have now. And the very first goal you're gonna have is to work on lowering your arousal with your state. Now, immediately you're gonna have a problem, and that is you're only gonna be able to hold that for a second or two, maybe less. And the second you start moving again, even a little tiny bit, your sensitivity is gonna shoot back up. That is where all the stroke training, the position training, the timed exercises are all gonna come into play. Now, if you get that far, I have all that stuff laid out for you in a specific order in my course, and you can check that out if you want, but that's not the goal of this video. That comes after you get mental control of your arousal. So don't worry if you can't move it inside your toy just yet. Don't get ahead of yourself. What I really want you to get from this video is I want you to be able to change your state, not just naturally like when you have to take a work call, but on command. And that means sticking it in your toy and working your state until you feel that sensitivity drop, you know, that feeling of control that you've never had. So I have an exercise for you to try. Now, in my course, you have to have a toy because position training is non-negotiable and you can't use your hand for that. But since you're just starting, for this exercise, I recommend using your hand even if you have a toy because it'll give you a lot more control in being able to let go. Now, what I want you to try is something very simple that will mimic the sensitivity lowering effect of the thought exercise from before, the Zoom call, and that is a power position. When you're masturbating and your sensitivity gets really high, I want you to sit straight up, put your arms over your head in a masculine pose, take a deep breath, and just give yourself permission not to worry about the sensitivity and the urgency of everything going on down below for just a few seconds. And just look around the room, relax your body, but also stay focused up here. Now bring your attention to below your belly button in your gut and see if you can begin to feel grounded, meaning you can feel your stomach connected to your butt and your butt is connected to the chair and the chair is connected to the floor, right? Your feet are maybe on the floor. See if you can focus on that feeling of being grounded to the chair and the chair to the floor. The whole time staying relaxed in your body, but focused in your mind. If you continue doing this, at some point you should feel a little kind of split in your mind where you almost forget about what's going on below for a second and your mind kind of settles into doing this exercise. Very similar to the Zoom call, right? At that point, begin stroking again and just see what happens. Now, if you do this right, you should notice that just for even a split second, it's just a little bit, your sensitivity went down a little bit, right? I'm not talking maybe all of it, but just a little bit where you notice and you go, oh, you know, I gotta work it a little bit to get back up to the point where I was at before I started the exercise. And that is exactly what you're looking for. Now, again, the point isn't to cure you with this, right? We're not doing that in this video. The point is to get you to see that you can reduce your sensitivity even 1% using your mind, your state, and that gets you access to start building from there. And guys, that's exactly how I went through it. I figured this out completely by accident. And when I did, it didn't cure me, not right away, but it made me see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I knew if I could do that for even half a second, I could do it for longer and longer. Now, if you try this exercise and you start getting the hang of it, you start feeling that sense of control, right? And you want to build from there. I recommend checking out this video with a specific breathing technique I developed for orgasm control. And once you get that, check out the resets video, but make sure to do them in that order because the resets video contains 5 parts and the breathing is one of those parts. So you're going to want to make sure you get the breathing down first and then move on to the resets video. It'll make it a lot easier.